All right, traders. So today I'm going to analyze gold, copper, and silver, all the futures for this coming week, because we have an exciting week coming up and a high volatility. And as is right now, it is 10:13 p.m. So it's Sunday, the 8th of March. So let me double check in real time. So I'm not faking anything. So let's get started. All right, so let's check it out on gold. So right now we are on the weekly time frame. And as you guys can see right here, we are still in the bullish uptrend on the weekly time frame. But if we want to look at further down to the daily time frame, it looks different, right? So what I can see right here is we have a beautiful uptrend and then a beautiful push downtrend. So it did hold up pretty well, but in the past weeks, it did climb up further of the higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And guess what? Now we came back to the higher low. And in the past 3 days or so, and today is the fourth day, it is literally hovering around. So in order to move up further higher, in order to get a new higher high, we need to jump this week, hopefully, or next week, further above of this of the last higher high in order to create a new higher high. And after that, we need to find to break this higher high on the weekly time frame. It is critical because I can see a chart pattern, which is the head and shoulder. So we have the shoulder coming back down, we have the head coming back down, and then we have the shoulder right here. And as you guys can see on the 4-hour time frame, we do have a head and shoulder. We also do have a bearish downtrend. Okay, so now we are creating a long lower high and lower low. And as long as the lower high, lower low is still inside in the long bar, it is still considered as a bearish trend. And this is also the same thing with the daily time frame. As long as the bearish downtrend is in between right here, it is still considered as a bearish trend. However, if we look at further on the 4-hour time frame, we have a beautiful resistance level. It is pretty strong. As you guys can see here, it did touch multiple times on the support level, support, 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 came back up, came back down, and then from the support, we turned into resistance level. Resistance, resistance, and another resistance. And now it really wants to try to climb back up in order to touch the resistance level, in order to see whether it can hold or it can break, retest, and move up further higher. But this one has a long way to go for this coming week. And if we look further down in the 2-hour time frame, we have still the same 4-hour resistance level and the 2-hour resistance level that are aligned. And that is very crucial. And that really indicates me that the 4-hour, the 2-hour, and the 1-hour time frame are very robust. Okay, so the level is very robust, very solid, and it's very difficult to break through, to retest in order to figure it out whether we made it and coming back into a support level and creating a new support level and then shooting back up. Here are my 3 scenarios on the 4-hour time frame. So either way, this week or the next coming week, it has a beautiful push up. It's going to break through, retest, and then going to buy. Or it is trying to hold at the resistance level right here and then reject, and then we can sell. And if we look at on the daily time frame, you guys can see very, very clearly that it wants to come back down and it wants to reach the level around 4,900. Okay, so that is the area that you need to consider getting off the position, right? It may come back up and then boom. So the next scenario If we still have a selling pressure, it may come further down, which goes into the bottom of the list, which is around 4,600. Okay, around 4,600 and 4,650. All right, so now let's move on to silver. So silver on the weekly time frame, it has a very beautiful bullish momentum, but we can see like a pressure coming to the downside for 2 weeks straight. As you guys can see here, two of the red candles. All right. So it came back down, and then we had a doji, and then it came back up. However, it is still under the higher high. So once we create a new lower low, that means that it is going to the downside. So for right now, the weekly time frame is bullish. The daily time frame is also bullish, but it may go into the bearish momentum. So the 4 hour time frame, it looks very critical because you guys can see right here that silver wants to try to push it down on the support level. So if we have a break, we have a retest to confirm that it really wants to come further down, then we're going to see a downside down to 71.600-ish, okay, around this area. And right here, if we check it out on the daily time frame, so you guys can see it more clearly, I have two scenarios. So the first one is if it really breaks and then retests, as I said before, it come back down. If it breaks and retests again, we have a further pushing coming down towards around 49. Okay, 49, the psychological level, but we also have another 4 hour support level, which is not that robust as the other one. But if we look at more further down for the 4 hour time frame, we do have a retest. It did reject. We had a retest. It did reject. Retest, reject. It did break, came back down, and now we have a support level. And if we look at on the 2 hour time frame, on the 2 hour time frame, it is the same thing, but with more structure and with more confirmation that the 2 hour time frame, the level is stronger than the 4 hour level. For silver, I am considering selling if we have a beautiful break, retest, and then sell. All right, so now let's go for copper. So for copper, it looks very obviously for me. So we have actually a beautiful market structure of a bullish trend. So we do have the higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and yes, and then we came back up on the higher high. Okay, there's actually also market structure, but it doesn't really consider it as a market structure for right now, since I can see that we did create a new higher high since we did break, right, and confirm from the previous higher high, and this is the newer higher high. So this is still a bullish trend. However, if we look further down into the daily time frame, we look a lot of traffic, a lot of consolidation right here. Okay, whenever you guys see something like this, it is really undecided whether it really wants to go further up or that it really wants to go further down. However, if I see a break under the daily level, under the daily support level, and a retest, it does confirm for me that it wants to come down. If it confirms, then I want to sell down towards to the next support level around the area of 5.341. Okay. And if this happens, there might be another chance that we can break this support level and then retest and turn into a resistance level to confirm that it wants to push further down more, then we are going to land around on the 5.000, which is the psychological level. And if we look further here on the 4 hour time frame, on the 4 hour time frame, it is too much noise. You guys probably get confused, like, oh my God, what is this? But we could see a lot of attempts in the past days that it wanted to break. It did break. It's sort of like retest, but it came back up into the zone where it doesn't really want to go further down. So you guys need to really be careful. That's why you need to have a break, you need to have a retest, and then you need to confirm yourself like, is it really pushing further up or is it pushing down? All right. And it's the same thing that happens right over here. And now we have another attempt. All right. So be cautious and make sure that copper is really want to go down and not going up. All right. And this is why you need to also set up a stop loss if something happens, because nobody can predict the market 100%. Nobody, even the Wall Street. All right. That would be it for my quick analysis. And if you guys have any questions, please comment down below. And as always, you execute, you gain, you succeed. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.